Okay, just got done. I had to watch this episode twice, and I was listening to everybody else's kind of review on it. Listened to a few, I don't know, Caucasian reviewers, and they're not too happy with this episode. Off the top, the title alone got a lot of them in their feelings, and a lot of them gave a very half-assed, lazy, disingenuous uh, review. I'm talking to you, Mr. H, over there in the UK, and a couple others that aren't worth mentioning. But I actually usually enjoy Mr. H's reviews, but on this one, he let me down very much so. And I even went into the comments to let him know how disappointed I was at his approach to his review. But we over here gonna do things a little bit different. We're gonna break it down. We don't do reviews. We break things down. So this one's called Whitey's on the Moon. It is from the spoken word narration from the late great Gil Scott Heron. It's a lot of hidden gems in this one. Man, this is deep. So in the very beginning, they make it to the estate from episode one. They wake up the next day. They're in heaven. You hear the Jeffersons moving on up, playing in the background. Letty is going through clothes. George's room is filled with all of his favorite books. And then Atticus Tick is replaying the events from the night prior, from the attack from the Shoggoths. All right. The lunch bell sounds, and then William escorts them. He tells them they were expected, and that his and that Montrose had met with their family attorney 2 days prior. There's a pic of Titus Braithwaite down in the center mantle hallway. It's a painting. He had restored. He built the lodge. The original lodge was burned down. He built a replica of this particular lodge that they're in for his brothers in the lodge. He's wearing a pointed hood. The original lodge was destroyed by fire in 1833. He made his fortune in shipping. And then Letty chimes in. She says that's code for slave. The fire occurred during the autumn equinox. George and Tick are suspicious. Letty says white folks don't be seasoning their food because she brings the bell and asks and has the waiter bring her salt. Letty and George don't remember the Shoggoth attack from the night prior. They don't remember the cabin. They don't remember the sheriff. They don't remember anything from the night prior. George tells Tick to sit down. They're being watched. Okay. Now their car is in the garage repaired. They go into the town or the village actually. Tick fought in the Korean War. Letty and George think Tick is stressed. Tick says George is in a room full of his favorite books, and Letty has new clothes, all in her size. They hear the Shoggoth whistle, and then then Tick just runs off into the direction of the whistle. There's a woman with two German shepherds blowing a whistle. He accuses her of being in the woods that night because she has the whistle. She's the sheriff. And then she says, through racial innuendo, she says, she called the blacks. Uh, she said that we have attack from bears, and she calls the black bears, the blacks, smart, not smart, beasts, persistent, and nosy. Okay. On their way back to the lodge, George said Tick's mom, her ancestor Hannah, escaped the Braithwaite plantation. They're surrounded by more Shoggoths, but Christina blows the whistle, shows up, and then whistles them off. In an instant, George and Letty lose their memory again. Tick sees Samuel having his liver removed during a ceremony. George picks up a book. The book is The House of the Borderlands. It opens a secret passageway. And then he sees the book called The Order of the Ancient Dawn. So the Order of the Ancient Dawn, that's the old Thelema A Hermetic Order. So that is the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Was a secret society devoted to the study and practice of the occult, metaphysics, and paranormal activities during the late 19th and earliest 20th centuries. Known as a magical order, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was active in Great Britain and focused its practices on theurgy and spiritual development. Okay, and many present day concepts of ritual and magic that are of the center of contemporary traditions, such as Wicca and Thelema, were inspired by the Golden Dawn, which became one of the largest single influences on 20th century Western occultism. One more thing. The three founders were William Robert Woodman, William Wynne Westcott, and Samuel Liddell Mathers were Freemasons. Westcott appears to have been the initial driving force behind the establishment of the Golden Dawn. The system was based on hierarchy and initiation like the Masonic lodges. However, women were admitted on an equal basis with men. The Golden Dawn was the first of three orders, although all three are all collectively referred to as the Golden Dawn. The first order taught esoteric philosophy based on the Hermetic Kabbalah. The second or inner order, or the Rose Ruby at Array Crucis, taught magic, including scrying, astral travel, and alchemy. The third order was that of the secret chiefs, who were said to be highly skilled. They supposedly directed the activities of the lower two orders by spirit communication with the chiefs of the second order. Okay. Now we got that out the way. Hey, Titus speaks with Sam and reads the two founders' names. The two founders' names of this order in this universe were Titus Braithwaite and Horatio Winthrop. Okay. Eve is blamed for entropy, death, and disorder. Genesis 21:9 or 2:19. Adam names the beasts of the earth. Adam establishes animals' hierarchy. Okay, it's all about order. Sam refers to himself as Adam. Christina thinks Tick can help. Sam disagrees. Christina tells Tick to make friends of the lodge. Tick accuses Christina of casting a spell and being of the clan. She says the clan is too poor to fraternize with. She says the spell is for those that survive encounters with the Shoggoth. She admits to saving him in Simmonsville. She can't take him to his father, but she agrees to lift the spell. They instantly remember and are placed in an invisible door in front of their door, so they all can't get out. Christina delivers a Shoggoth via a cow in a breech birth. It's her first delivery, so these things are born from cows. Tick goes to Letty's room. Letty remembers Psalms 23:4. She tells how her mother abandoned her one day. Tick and Letty then kiss. Tick taps in Morse code. George writes down the code. It spells wizards. Jiha attempts to kill Tick in his room. So now at this point, all three are having their own little realities. They're all being played with. Their minds are being played with. So in one room, George sees a vision of Doris. Of course, she's dead. That's Tick's mom. Montross is not Tick's dad, but George is. Now, I kind of figured that out during his encounter with Doris. Doris, Montrose, and George are from Tulsa. I say again, Dora, Montrose, and George are all from Tulsa. This is the Watchmen connection. This is in the Watchmen's universe. Remember the Watchmen, Regina King's character, her family, they're from Tulsa. Okay. Her grandfather's from Tulsa. You know, the Black Ranger, the Black Lone Ranger, Bass Reeves. Okay. There you go. All right. Then Doris tells George he can fly with his children. George says she's not real while being watched by lodge members. Tick kills Jiha. And then Letty thwarts a rape attempt by a fake Tick. The dinner bell is sounded. Letty is not invited because it's male only. It's black tie affair. Tick then asks George who they make you see. George says it doesn't matter. He says, "Be strong. Don't let them tell you who you aren't. You're a good man." Blah blah blah. George has a plan to escape. William tells George and Tick, just because they don't want you here doesn't mean you don't belong here. Samuel then enters the room and offers all the lodge members pieces of his liver for consumption. Then George says, "Don't eat it." George admits to being a Prince Hall Mason. He cites a bylaw in their precepts that direct descendants can give orders to regular members. So now we find out that Tick is the direct descendant of Titus. Tick, Tick then orders Sam to return his father to him. He orders the other members to leave. Sam tells Titus he's not a zealot, and his belief stops where the others start. He says Titus used the book of names to spell his to spell his body to be more powerful. Says Tick is a reservoir, tainted, diluted, but still useful. They're thrown in a cellar. The sheriff, the lady with two German shepherds from before, threatens to kill him. Excuse me. Letty then knocks her unconscious. They find Montrose's flask. They find a loose stone, and they follow the path through the loose stone up to the ground. And then at that same moment, you see Montrose burrowing his way up above ground. They find him. Montrose says they're crazy for coming. The sons of Adam use the book of life to imbue immortality. So they're chasing immortality. That's what Sam wants. He wants to step into the Garden of Eden and achieve immortality. Okay. A botched ceremony. The prior ceremony is what caused the original fire back in 1883 because the ceremony went wrong. Okay. 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 Then, so as they're driving, escaping down the road, they run into an invisible force field. Sam shows up. Sam then shoots Lady in the stomach. She dies. Sam gives Tick a choice in who lives between Montrose and George. Sam fires a gun. The next scene, Sam wants to use Tick's life force to open a portal to the Garden of Eden. Entropy is difficult to control. Okay. Entropy is that one thing. It's beyond death. It's the one. Best way I can describe it. Entropy is what they use to kill Doomsday. The very first after there's one part in the comics. They sent him out into space, and entropy was used to kill Doomsday one time because there was one time he didn't die via entropy. Matter of fact, I'll do you guys one favor. Let's look up what entropy actually is. Entropy is it's a law of physics. It's a thermodynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted as a degree of disorder or randomness in the system. It is a lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder. Simple definition is basically the measure of a system's thermal energy per unit temperature that is unavailable for doing useful work, because work is obtained from ordered molecular motion. The amount of entropy is also a measure of the molecular disorder or randomness of a system. Okay. So then, as Tick is getting ready for his ceremony, Letty rises from the dead. Christina is jealous she doesn't get a ring. She tells him to see it and seize it. Letty has an anxiety attack. Montrose and George catch up. George has a gunshot wound to the abdomen and reminisce on the abuse of their father. George tells Montrose Tick may not be his. Montrose angrily says they settled it a long time ago. So everyone's in agreement that pretty much Tick is not Montrose's son, but actually George's. As the ceremony begins, you can hear the narration of Whitey on the Moon from Gil Scott-Heron. The ceremony begins. Tick's life force begins to drain, and he sees Hannah, the original ancestor that escaped from the Braithwaite plantation, and she's pregnant. The lodge begins to shake and tremble. The portal closes, and Sam and lodge members are instantly turned to stone. Hannah shows up and shows him the path. So she's in spirit form running, and he's following her out of the lodge as the lodge collapses behind him. And then Letty shows up, and then he walks to the car. He sees Montrose holding George's dead body. George bled out. And then Tick weeps and apologizes to George's dead body. Holy shnikey. Now I see why these a majority of the Caucasian movie reviewers are upset or not too fond of this particular episode. So they're just looking for any reason to trash this show at this point. Basically, folks, we have another Watchmen where the black people are important. Okay. So it is what it is. I keep forgetting Jordan Peele is one of the executive producers of this show. So I really shouldn't be surprised at all the racial tinging, the racial tropes in this particular series. But I'm into it. So it's good to know that this is connected to the Watchmen universe. So that's kind of dope. With that being said, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace.